Welcome to Big Yellow Bag Information TV. Today we're going to talk about our Big Yellow Bag overseeding kit, how to mix and blend and overseed your lawn. We'll start off with what's included in our Big Yellow Bag overseeding kit. We have our Big Yellow Bag seed, which is coated with a paper mulch to help absorb moisture and germinate a little bit better. We have our starter fertilizer, which has a high middle number, which is excellent for young, germinating, establishing grass seeds. We have our trowel, which is excellent for doing our mixing and our measuring of our garden soil and our seed. We have our pail that we use to mix the ingredients together, our garden soil and our seed, before we go and spread it over the lawn. We also have a rain gauge that's included in the kit to measure the amount of moisture that you're putting on. Moisture on your grass seed is extremely critical over 10 to 14 days after you've performed your overseeding. And then last but not least, we have our overseeding guide, which has all of the helpful tips and information. It's going to go over everything that I discussed today in detail, and that's also included in your kit. The ideal time for doing overseeding is when we get soil temperatures in the 11 to 13 degree range, consistent throughout the day, and we're not dipping below freezing at night. We need those nice, consistent, warm soil temperatures to be able to get seed to germinate. If we do it too early in the season, the grass seed can tend to stay moist too long and it'll actually rot in your soil. The first thing I like to do is know the area and space that I'm going to be overseeding. So I'll either measure it with a tape measure, or I'll just simply pace it off and measure my length times my width. Know how far your paces are. I'm a pretty consistent 3-foot pace, so I'll measure my length paces, my width paces, and calculate how many square feet that I'm going to cover. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. So now I've measured my length and my width. It's 6 by 10, that's 60 square yards. My paces are about square yards. There's 9 square feet in a square yard. So that's just under 600 square feet, which is an ideal area to be covered with one of our full overseeding kits. The first process we like to do is rake all the debris that's on our lawn. We want to expose as much of the soil underneath our grass as we can and get rid of all the loose, dead grass that's laying in there so that it doesn't hinder our overseeding process. So just a nice, simple raking. Get rid of all the dead grass. Expose as much soil as you can. Nice, simple, easy raking. The next step in our process is to mix our garden soil with our Big Yellow Bag seed. We like to have a ratio of 20 shovelfuls of soil to half a shovelful of seed mixed and blend in our Big Yellow Bag pail. So you take 20 shovelfuls of soil, we continue shoveling in. Once we get half of our 20 shovelfuls in, then we'll take our half a shovelful of seed in the soil, sprinkled around the top. So now we've added our seed. Now we're going to finish putting in the rest of our soil, the rest of our 10 shovelfuls of soil, and then we're going to mix and blend it up really well. Okay, we like to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed in our pail so that when you're all done, you have a beautiful, nice, consistent mix of seed and soil blended together. The next process in our overseeding campaign is to spread our mixture of seed and soil over the area that we want to seed. And what I like to do is actually start off with a little bit of a windrow at the beginning of where I'm going to start raking. And then I'll rake that windrow into the area that I'm overseeding. Once we've distributed our seed-soil mixture onto the area that we want to overseed, then we want to nice, evenly rake that blended mixture into the area that we're overseeding. That's why I like to put it into a windrow so that I can rake it into the area, across the area that I'm overseeding. Once you've completed spreading your seed-soil mixture over your area that you're overseeding, then you want to put the fertilizer that was included in your Big Yellow Bag kit over the entire area. You want to use a mechanical fertilizer spreader, either a handheld one or a push one will work just fine. You want to evenly spread the fertilizer over the entire area. Good, even distribution of the fertilizer is very important. Make sure if you're going to stop that you stop your fertilizer spreader before you stop walking. The next process in our overseeding program is water. If there's any secret to success in your overseeding campaign, it's going to be keeping your seed consistently moist for 10 to 14 days. You want to set your sprinkler up in the center of the area that you've overseeded. You want to put your gauge on an extremity area to ensure that you are getting full coverage of your rain gauge. You want to put 1/4 of an inch on every day. That's not a lot of water, but consistency is the key. Every day, 1/4 of an inch in your rain gauge. We want to make sure we give it a good 1/4 of an inch a day, and if it is a hot, windy day, we actually want to give it 1/4 of an inch in the morning, and when you come home from work, 1/4 of an inch at night. We have to keep the surface consistently moist for the 10 to 14 days. Thank you for joining us today, and please stay tuned for more Big Yellow Bag tips and tricks in the future.